quits. Everybody says she's a bully. She's very nasty. Her when things inevitably start spiraling. Did you notice that at the end of every episode, it says, like, the starring, Megyn, Duchess of Sussex?
Yes.
That's how she's billed. Busy mom. And this is how mornings are as I get the kids off to school. You're making fruit parfait crudité boards? Like,
oh my
whom?
God. She is so full of shit.
Megyn Kelly just took a flamethrower to Meghan Markle's brand new Netflix show. And let's just say, love was not on the menu.
And Harry Sussex? I have no idea. And no, Megyn, no one knew that. Like, why are you correcting? You know.
In what can only be described as a deliciously brutal takedown, Megyn, joined by media firecracker Maureen Callahan, watched the entire 8-episode series so you didn't have to. And the verdict? 1 part Pinterest fail and 2 parts awkward social theater. The show, which promised heartwarming lifestyle content, turned out to be more of a cringe fest buffet.
Which is, I'm going to show you how to make a happy, warm, loving home after I have successfully severed my husband's ties from his entire family.
So what did Megyn and Maureen do next? Oh, just the most savage thing imaginable. They made their own version of the show, and it's as hilariously biting as you'd hope.
Previously on With Love, Megyn.
Oh my God!
Hi!
You look amazing!
It's mockery mixed with sharp satire, topped off with a healthy dose of, wait, is she really doing this? And where did they drop it? On Megyn's YouTube channel, which boasts over 3 million subscribers who live for this kind of popcorn-spilling content. It all kicks off with Megyn channeling her inner Markle. I love to elevate a guest's visit.
I love to elevate a guest's visit.
Finally, I can breathe again.
Cheers, dear.
What follows is a scene straight out of a parody fever dream. Megyn and co-conspirator Maureen Callahan reenact one of the most widely mocked moments from Megyn's Netflix debut, taking store-bought snacks and lovingly repackaging them in dainty little cellophane bags.
It's okay, it's not expensive like your clothes are.
Look at how fun that is.
Because nothing says hospitality like insulting your guest's intelligence. Let's be real. The only thing getting elevated here is the shade. The spoof, shared on X, exploded instantly. Fans were crying, laughing, calling it hilarious, spot on, and better than the actual show. One viewer even joked, "I assume you also didn't film in your own kitchen." Hilarious. What's interesting, though, is that despite all the mockery, Megyn's charging full speed ahead. That's right, With Love, Megyn is officially returning for season 2 this fall. More ribbon, more camera-ready faux friends, and more kitchen sets that may or may not belong to her. But if you thought With Love, Megyn was going to be the Duchess of Sussex's big, warm, relatable comeback, you might need to sit down. Because critics have weighed in, and let's just say, this souffle did not rise. Rotten Tomatoes slapped the show with a brutal 28%. That's barely above a failed group project in high school. One critic summed it up like this: the show simultaneously strains for aspiration and relatability in a way that never gels. The Guardian didn't mince words, calling it a gormless lifestyle filler, which is British for, we watched it and we want our time back. Meanwhile, The Telegraph gave it 2 stars and called it insane and an exercise in narcissism. Not to mention many commentators on YouTube have been ripping the show apart since day one.
I am physically nauseated watching that clip. That is like a parody of what that show should be. I had to get it totally wrong to get it totally right. I just love, really one of my favorite things is doing small, wonderful acts of charity and kindness for people to let them know I'm thinking of them. You know, I love, what? You love Megyn. Someone pointed out on Twitter, I forget who it was, the woman who destroyed her in-laws' family, whose own family doesn't like her, whose the in-laws obviously don't like her, the public doesn't like her. She seems to be one of the more vindictive, sort of nasty figures in public life. What's the title of her show? Love Megyn. For what? To watch? Who wants to watch Meghan Markle bake a pie? Even in the commercial, what's really wrong with this is all the little clips of her seem to attempt to show some.
While critics slam the show's empty facade, though, Meghan Markle's recent interview sparked a sharper backlash. Megyn Kelly didn't hold back when she shared Meghan Markle's latest interview with People magazine, and it's giving serious mixed signals. Megyn talked up her Safe Haven project and her show, which are both tied to her as ever brand. She gushed about how special it is to build this legacy alongside her daughter, painting it as a beautiful, multi-generational family story that includes Archie and Harry, too. Megyn also emphasized how important it was to her that her daughter sees her as a working mom.
This is something that I can create in front of my daughter and teach her what it's like to be a working mom.
Once those lines came out, Megyn Kelly wasn't having it. She quickly slammed Megyn down and said, "This is not what it's like to be a working mom."
This is not what it's like to be a working mom.
That line feels like a subtle reminder that Megyn's world, luxurious, privileged, and heavily scripted, is miles away from what the average woman's day looks like. And Kelly is spotlighting exactly that disconnect. Now, Megyn Kelly exposed the gulf between Megyn's scripted image and reality. But the real awkwardness hit hard in episode 1. We're introduced to Megyn's world not through grit or charm, but through a painfully choreographed performance that might as well have come with cue cards. Her first guest was her hairdresser bestie, plucked straight from the glam squad and planted into her pristine kitchen like a human prop. So what was his job? To gush over Megyn's cucumber chopping like it was Michelin star magic. At one point, he's giddy over her making a basic one-pot pasta with no cream sauce. Then came the saving grace, Mindy Kaling. Smart, sharp, and refreshingly real, Mindy walked into Megyn's perfectly curated world and tried to keep it authentic. But Megyn was on a mission. A casual chat about loving Jack in the Box morphed into a branding sermon about how her last name is Sussex.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now.
Yes, because nothing screams down to earth like correcting fast food jokes with Duchess titles.
I'm not going to call Meghan Markle the Duchess of Sussex because she quit her job.
Absolutely. And
what's wild is that this show could have worked. People want to root for Megyn. They want the relatable mom, the ex-royal making gluten-free banana bread in sweatpants. Instead, what we got was an over-polished attempt at relatability, all broadcast from the polished luxury of a $14 million Montecito estate.
That's the goal.
To deploy with our huge freaking basket in our backyard garden that looks like Central Park.
It's like Megyn invited us in, but made sure the lighting, script, and narrative were all pre-approved by a PR dream team. If critics are right, that dream team might want to consider a career pivot. Now, there's one fleeting moment of something real, and it comes in an episode with Chef Roy Choi that touches on childhood struggles as non-white kids in 90s LA.
I was part of dance crews, all that stuff.
You were?
Yeah.
No one talks about all the dances that were such a big deal. Not the actual dance,
Like
but the
the Roger
dances.
Rabbit? Yeah.
But then it barely gets time to breathe before being smothered by more beeswax, floral arrangements, and ribbon-wrapped popcorn bags. It looks like Meghan Markle's Netflix glow-up might be sparkling on the outside, but behind the scenes, the stars of the very same platform are sharpening their knives. The latest to throw some serious shade, none other than comedian Katherine Ryan, who's not exactly known for holding back. In a twist no one saw coming, Ryan, who has 3 Netflix specials to her name, just called out the Duchess of Sussex for being, well, fake.
So I don't know if you guys are watching this like flower sprinkles Netflix show that she's got, but it's really revving people up. So
yep, the woman who once rooted for Megyn, who believed her claims of battling institutional racism in the royal machine, is now doing a full 180. And what changed?
Complete opposite. I mean, that's just another one of the malarkey stories she sold to the royal family for sympathy.
Even with me growing up, it was so much fast food. And yes, I get when you're on a...
Ryan says Megyn's act feels very manicured and very forced. Not just that, but she believes the Duchess's brand of faux humility gives off big Hollywood try-hard energy, even for someone who lives in that world. And Ryan isn't the only one. She joins fellow Netflix Christina Pazitsky, who went full throttle calling Megyn highly inauthentic, fake, and phony. Even John Mulaney got in on the action earlier this year. He joked that Meghan and Harry were basically handed a blank check from Netflix without a clue what they were actually supposed to do with it.
Execs. He says not since Harry and Meghan has Netflix given more money to someone without a specific plan.
Insiders say Netflix definitely isn't popping champagne over the show's performance either. Ratings are underwhelming, and let's just say audiences prefer Meghan with Harry. According to Daily Mail, the glossy sheen around with Love Meghan might be cracking. In fact, behind the scenes, Netflix is reportedly squirming over the chilly reception.
I don't think anybody at Netflix could have seen the show before it went out, because it's not entertainment.
Especially after sinking serious cash into Meghan's lifestyle brand, which they boldly plan to spotlight in their new brick-and-mortar stores. Now, Netflix has already announced that a second season has already been filmed, but the industry insiders are calling foul. That second season is clearly not a victory lap. It's just a safety net. Netflix hasn't renewed her contract, and the future of the Duchess's streaming reign is anything but certain. So why the back-to-back filming? According to a source, it was clever and cost-effective, allowing them to tweak the show based on how badly, or blandly, it lands with viewers and critics. This means Meghan's second act is stuck in post-production purgatory, waiting to see if the first one does more than just trend for the wrong reasons. But while her Netflix future hangs in limbo, Meghan's not exactly crying over cold analytics. Instead, she's eyeing a shift from screen queen to style sovereign. In a fresh chat with Fast Company, the Duchess hinted she might never restock those buzzy jam jars that caused a frenzy when her online store launched. Despite the hype, Meghan says she's pumping the brakes and stepping back to gather data from the launch and reassess the future of her as ever brand. Especially after the rebranding controversy.
When else the logo's been nicked from Mallorca's crest of arms or something like that, and so she's changed it to being called As Ever. Yep, as corny and as cringe.
On top of that, Meghan teased a potential pivot from peaches to Prada. The category of fashion is something I will explore at a later date. She said, "It's a move that makes sense for someone whose every outfit sparks headlines and think pieces." But for now, she's eyeing a 2026 merch drop. Netflix, who had reportedly poured cash into the Duchess's brand integration, agreed that she should go solo rather than slap their logo on a jar of preserves. They've got Squid Game hoodies to sell. Meghan's path? It's not really making any waves. While Meghan plots her next move, though, Katherine Ryan is now doing what many wouldn't dare, calling out the cracks in Meghan's carefully curated crown, and she's not being subtle about it. In the latest episode of her podcast, Telling Everybody Everything, Ryan spills some seriously hot tea, pointing to what she calls inconsistencies in Meghan's story. First up, Meghan's back-and-forth childhood narrative. In her With Love Meghan Netflix debut, Markle paints a humble picture of growing up with TV dinners and fast food. But flashback to 2016 when she was a guest judge on Chopped Jr., and suddenly it's all about farm-to-table, fresh ingredients. So, which is it? TV trays or heirloom tomatoes? Ryan's not buying the mix-and-match origin story, and she's raising eyebrows over Meghan's long-held claim that she didn't know much about Prince Harry before they met. It does feel like she has lied, Ryan admits. That's a pretty bold accusation, especially from someone who once believed in the Meghan magic. But it's not just Ryan who has noticed something fishy in Meghan's stories. Markle's own family drama just got messier. Her paternal half-brother, Thomas Markle Jr., fired shots straight from the sidelines after the release of her Netflix show. The two haven't spoken in over 10 years, but Markle Jr. clearly hasn't lost his appetite for calling out what he calls her malarkey stories.
Complete opposite. I mean, that's just another one of the malarkey stories she sold to the royal family for sympathy.
Even with me growing up, it was so much fast food. And yes, I get when you're on a...
He wasn't buying her version of growing up modest and claiming she was a latchkey kid raised on fast food and TV tray dinners, as Meghan described in a clip from the series. Instead, he dismissed the whole thing as fake, throwing serious shade on the Duchess's attempt to paint herself as just another kid navigating a tough childhood. But just when the dust was settling on Meghan's muddled backstory, she pulled another surprise move. Back in February 2025, Meghan quietly hit the rename button on her much-hyped lifestyle brand American Riviera Orchard, relaunching it under a new name, As Ever. Critics were ruthless, and even her diehards were left asking, wait, what just happened? Meghan, of course, took to People magazine to explain it all with her signature soft glow charm. There are tons of twists and turns even with the name, she confessed. I was figuring it out in real time. "I appreciate everyone who gave me the grace to make mistakes and figure it out," she added. But branding hiccups aside, this rebrand drama is just the tip of the royal iceberg. As more people began watching with Love Megyn, they began noticing something. Now people are screaming copycat. Megyn's show, set in a breezy California estate where she whips up garden-fresh meals and hosts sun-drenched soirees, is drawing some very pointed comparisons. To whom? None other than Pamela Anderson's Cooking with Love, announced way back in early 2023.
Now she's been accused of copying Hollywood icon Pamela Anderson after similarities were found between the trailer for Pamela's Cooking with Love venture and Megyn.
Yep, same vibe, same aesthetic, eerily similar title, and fans are clocking every detail. And if there's one thing Megyn doesn't need right now, it's another accusation of being too staged or too calculated. What's crazier is that even the scripts sound the same. In one of her episodes, Pamela says, "I've always wanted to take things to another level." Megyn counters with, "I've always liked to take something common and elevate it." Both shows hype the magic of learning from culinary experts, making fans question if Megyn's new venture is more homage or outright imitation. And the title, With Love, is almost too similar. Adding fuel to the fire is Megyn's featured dish, the Ladybug Caprese Bruschetta. You see, this isn't exactly fresh from the royal kitchen. It's already been spotlighted in magazines and blogs, leaving viewers wondering if her recipes are more recycled than original. Now, while Pamela's show premiered to rave reviews with an impressive 9.8 out of 10 on IMDb, Megyn's debut has stumbled out of the gate with a disappointing 2.7 rating. Still, Megyn's not letting the critics spoil the party. She proudly celebrated With Love Megyn, soaring into Netflix's top 10 within 24 hours of release. As Megyn tries to ride the wave of Netflix success, Megyn Kelly dives in with brutal criticism, calling out Meghan and Harry for exploiting real tragedies to keep themselves in the spotlight. Megyn Kelly went full savage on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, accusing them of weaponizing the devastating Los Angeles wildfires for a shameless publicity grab. On her Sirius XM show, Kelly didn't mince words. She called the couple absolute cretins who crashed a crisis just to plaster their faces all over the cameras again.
Absolute cretins decide to inject themselves into the devastation in Los Angeles for one reason: to get their faces.
While footage rolled of the Sussexes dishing out food and hugging evacuees, Kelly was disgusted. She said it was spotlighting a disturbing pattern of Megyn turning tragedy into her personal stage.
Right? Stop getting off on the trauma porn of real suffering in Los Angeles.
She dragged Megyn's Uvalde school visit from 2022, calling it more of the same desperate self-promotion, but Kelly wasn't done. She threw shade by quoting actress Justine Bateman, who ripped the pair as disaster tourists, comparing their antics to ambulance chasing, the lowest form of opportunism.
What did she call them? Disaster opportunists, which is exactly right.
Her blistering verdict? If Harry and Meghan actually cared, they'd quietly back real relief efforts, donations, GoFundMe, anything but turning heartbreak into a headline. The Sussexes have clammed up, but the firestorm over their wildfire stunt is raging. A local reporter, caught off guard by Meghan's oddly specific action, gave a play-by-play that instantly went viral for all the wrong reasons. She said, "It looked like they might really want to help. I actually saw Megyn stoop down and take off the lid of a plastic bin. Do they really want to get down and dirty?" Once this clip hit the internet, Candace Owens wasted no time turning that painfully mundane moment into peak meme material. In a TikTok clip dripping with sarcasm, Owens quipped, "That's how I knew my girl was real. Big thanks to Megyn for stooping down and doing that. So helpful." The clip exploded, racking up over 28,000 likes and sparking a wildfire of mixed reactions. Some fans insisted the gesture was genuine emotional support. Even small acts matter, they said. But the haters? Oh, they were relentless. "Megyn can't miss a single chance for a photo op," one user sneered. Meanwhile, Harry and Megyn were busy strolling with Pasadena's mayor Victor Gordo, chatting up volunteers and serving meals with World Central Kitchen. But the bin lid moment? It's what's stuck in everyone's heads, and it's become a shorthand for Megyn's controversial brand of helping. So, what are your thoughts on Megyn Kelly slamming Meghan Markle over her Netflix cooking show disaster? Drop them down in the comments below.